Okay, Rachel, thank you for joining me for a few minutes here this afternoon. Rachel is a friend of mine that I've known for a long time. We grew up together. Our parents are best friends and spend a lot of time together. Um, and Rachel, can you tell me a little bit about your job and why maybe I reached out to you? Because I thought you'd be an expert. I know you're an expert. You do.
Like
What do you do for a living, Rachel?
expert, as I told Britta earlier, is used a little loosely, but I'm a biology instructor at St. Paul College. Teach a lot of microbiology, which is kind of my passion, and some environmental science and just in general different biology classes.
And how long have you been there, Rachel?
Oh, this ages me. But I'm in my 18th year teaching there.
Really? I didn't know
Yeah,
that, Rachel. That's
I
exciting.
know.
Congrats.
So I started teaching when I was about 10 years old.
Yeah, 10. Yeah,
Yeah.
same.
Okay.
Wait, when we were 10-ish. No. I think I see Carl coming,
Yeah.
creeping behind. Okay, Rachel, can you explain to me in simple terms, what the immune system is? That you
Okay.
explain?
Well, the immune system, anything but simple, right?
Okay.
But I will try.
Yes.
So in simple terms, it's your body's defense against invaders. Okay.
Okay.
So pathogens, things that can cause disease, pollen, allergies, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Um, Two main kind of branches when we look at the immune system. You have your innate, I took notes, so I'm gonna just have to consult
Good
them.
job,
You
Professor.
have your innate immunity and your adaptive immunity. So innate, Britta, is like, think of we've got three lines of defense. Your innate is your first two lines of defense. A line of defense is what your body, what a pathogen would have to like get by in order to
Right.
make
Yeah.
you sick. Okay.
Okay.
So innate is just kind of general and non-specific. Your skin is your first line
Okay.
of defense. Your mucous membranes lines your throat, lines your stomach. Your microbiome. Now that's where my passion lies, right? Because I teach microbiology. So your
Yes.
microbiome, the bacteria that live in and on you. And they outnumber you 10 to 1. So for every one of your cells, there's 10 bacteria living in you. So
Really?
yeah, take that in for a second.
Everywhere in me?
Well, that's a great question, Britta. The in general they kind of cover you, but some areas heavier than others. Your skin, okay, is a hot spot for your normal flora. Your skin is covered with bacteria. Your gut,
Yeah.
probably your large intestine is the number one, diversity and like load of microbes. Females, vaginal tract.
Okay.
But things like your lungs, are free of bacteria. Your upper respiratory tract, your mouth, your throat, full of bacteria. And their job, part of their job, is to protect you. It's called microbial antagonism. The bacteria that live in and on us, really good at what they do. And so
Okay.
it's a barrier. It's that first line of defense. If a pathogen's going to get to you, they have to outcompete your normal flora for access, right?
Yeah.
The saltiness of our skin, the mucous membrane sticky, they get trapped. So that's your
Yeah.
first line of defense.
Yep.
If a pathogen gets by that, then they encounter your second line of defense, and this is still the innate immunity. It's cellular. You've heard of natural killer cells before. It's monocytes like macrophages. It's neutrophils, cell eaters,
Okay.
basically. So they're kind of out to detect foreign cells like
Okay.
pathogens, and their job is to go out and destroy it.
Got it. So they're like
And
they're like looking for them,
yeah,
want to go get rid of them.
yep. And so the two kind of common responses with this would be inflammation. I think about like you step on a rusty nail or you cut your finger or whatever, it gets inflamed,
Yep.
right? That's an innate response. Your vessels dilate,
Got it.
those things, they bring in those cell eaters
Yeah.
and they chomp them up and eat them. And then pus forms. Pus is kind of a natural response.
Okay.
The other response would be fever. Fever is actually a low grade, short kind of timed fever is actually good for us. It takes your body to a higher temperature. It makes those microbes or those pathogens uncomfortable.
Okay.
Sustained, inflammation, sustained fever, bad, right? So
Okay.
your immune system's always kind of on the brink of doing good or doing bad.
Okay.
Okay, so that's your innate responses.
Okay.
Then your third line of defense is that adaptive or specific immunity. That's where we deal with antibodies. So B
Okay.
cells, T cells, and antibodies. The good thing about that, it's super specific. And so it has memory. So that if you're ever encountering, like, say that virus again, your immune
Oh,
system will
yeah.
wake up and immediately attack it. This is what vaccines,
Got
right?
it.
They kind of take that third line of defense or your
Introduce it
specific
into your
immunity.
body so that your body thinks it's already had it, right? Like,
Yep.
and
Yep.
knows how to respond to it.
Yep. The bad thing takes time. That's why you get sick, right?
Yeah.
You catch a cold, you get sick from it. You'll never catch that cold again.
Yeah.
You'll catch a different cold.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, simply put, that, I mean, if that's
Awesome.
simple, that's your immune system.
That's good though. Like, that's super good. I love
Yeah.
it. Okay. So in what ways is our immune system or when is our immune system compromised, or when are times where, like, does that make sense? Like, where you
Yep.
might be more susceptible to those pathogens that are trying to get in?
Yep. So when you're immunocompromised, basically it's when your immune system isn't mounting an efficient or sufficient, like, response. And I hope you know what I mean. Like, efficient
Yeah.
meaning timely, or sufficient, like, good enough.
No, or good enough. Whatever.
And
Okay.
there's a lot of things that can lead to that.
Okay.
Kind of extrinsic and intrinsic sort of factors. So, like, if you're already sick,
Right.
okay, in a way you're kind of immunocompromised. So you say you have a cold, right? And
Yeah.
your body and your immune system's fighting that cold. Well, how many times do you get a sinus infection?
Right.
Right? It makes you more susceptible to other infections.
Got
You have
it.
the flu. Oftentimes from the flu, somebody might get pneumonia.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
If you are on medications, so like chemotherapy, radiation obviously make you more susceptible to infections. Oftentimes antibiotics do, depending on the type of antibiotic. But like if you take like a broad spectrum antibiotic, it's out there killing bacteria. It's killing your microbiome, the bacteria that live in and on you, and that can lead to infections. So,
Okay.
yeast infections, fairly common after a round of antibiotics, because
Mhm.
the antibiotics kill the normal flora of the vaginal tract. I mean, they kill all your like a lot of your normal flora, including the ones of the vaginal tract. And now the yeast just say, hey, I got an opening
Hey,
now, and
yeah, let's
we'll
have a
go
party.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome,
What?
right? You didn't know you talk about the vagina so much in this. um, I mean, other
Okay.
things though, like more intrinsic things, stress, lack of sleep,
Yeah.
lack of exercise, um, poor nutrition. Your immune system, it takes energy,
Yeah.
right? And anything that is diverting that energy, right, just makes you more susceptible.
Yeah.
Your immune system just can't respond as efficiently or as quickly.
Awesome. Got it. Okay. So okay, so going into fall and winter, thinking about like ways to keep our bodies healthy, well, to keep our good bacteria or whatever microbiomes, I'm not sure I'm using this correctly,
Sure.
healthy and ready to fight all the things. Okay, besides you mentioned sleep, stress, I mean, exercise, those sorts of things. Do you know of other like foods or specific vitamins or anything like that that you know are really good for us, especially going into this like normal
Mhm.
unhealthy season?
Wine. Oh, wait.
Got that. Got that, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, you can go out and Google foods for the immune
yes,
system,
yes,
and you could get a list of 30, or you could get a list of 5 or
right.
whatever. The ones that kind of do really stand out, um, one, water. I
Yeah.
mean, honestly, stay hydrated.
Hydration.
It,
Yep.
it flushes out toxins.
Yep.
I mean, our nutrients, all the things we need that need to get to our cells are dissolved in water, essentially. So the more hydrated you are, the more water that's getting,
Yep.
it's distributing nutrients throughout your
Yep.
body. Keep
Especially if
your,
you're doing number one wine.
yeah,
Keep
right.
lots of
Coors Light is kind of mostly water, so
no.
you probably edit that out. Keeps your mucous membranes wet. Like, remember, those mucous membranes
Yep.
can trap, pathogens. So water is actually awesome. The other
Okay.
one that always comes up is citrus fruits, because of vitamin C. In terms of your immune system, vitamin C really has been shown to be effective. It doesn't prevent. So we hear about like, oh, you get a cold or whatever. vitamin C won't prevent you from necessarily getting the cold,
Yep.
but a lot of research has shown that it shortens the duration of that
Okay.
infection. There's it kind of wakes up those B cells and starts making those antibodies faster.
Got it.
So
If
maybe
we were getting enough vitamin C regularly,
mhm,
that would certainly help. That would certainly,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yogurt. I mean, I can't say enough about yogurt and probiotics. It really helps maintain good gut microbes, bacteria. And if you don't like yogurt, there's other probiotics like kombucha and I think sauerkraut,
Yeah.
fermented veggies.
Yeah.
Maintaining your microbiome is
Yeah.
really, really
When I
important.
was looking at some stuff, it was like really talking sauerkraut was one that kept, or I'm
Mhm.
really big proponents of.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Fermented vegetables.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
they have the good bacteria.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
Other things that I think garlic is actually shown to be fairly effective, have some antiviral components, decreases inflammation,
Yeah.
spinach, so, but I mean, water, yogurt, fruit
Got
would
it.
be my top three.
Perfect. And we don't keep much in our fridge anymore when it's just Mike and I. So I think I'm just gonna go to that. Like
Yeah,
water, yogurt, fruit,
right.
right?
There you
And
go.
sauerkraut.
Yeah.
Sauerkraut.
And sauerkraut.
Okay. The only other thing that I read about, and then we can wrap this up, is vitamin D.
Yes.
And maybe you have more to add too, Rachel, but vitamin D and just the importance of vitamin D, especially where we live and everything, if we're not getting it naturally from the sun, that we're supplementing our vitamin D because it helps with inflammation.
Mhm.
Um, and it helps like just if calm an overactive immune system. I was reading some things about that, like it's whatever. Anyway, but it does seem like, I read you can get a decent amount of it in butter, in grass-fed
Yeah.
butter.
Yeah. So I am looking at my list now because I listed all the vitamins because I was like, okay, how do they actually
Ah,
help the immune system?
yeah,
And vitamin D, fatty fish and then dairy products, milk,
yeah,
butter. And you're right, it decreases inflammation. It also is supposed to kind of increase your white blood cell
okay,
activity. So that's another advantage. And also helps with protecting the mucous membrane. So again, there's a lot of immune
yeah.
system
Those are important.
advantages to it.
Those mucous membranes. Okay, did you list any other vitamins, Rachel, that you want to mention before we wrap it up?
I mean, like all of them.
All of them?
Vitamin A is super good actually when it
Yes,
comes to the immune system. That one comes up a lot as
yes. I
having a
read that.
lot of support. So
Yeah, so when I was reading, it was like A, E, D, C, or D, C and D,
yeah, yeah.
and then zinc
Zinc. Yeah, I have zinc written down too. That
and
it helps in healing a
okay.
lot. So in those the cells that come in to kind of after the infection and help heal you up, very
Oh,
good for that.
okay. And copper is another one I read about.
Yeah.
Copper. And
So well, and like copper and a lot of these other things, they're what do I call them? Coenzymes, cofactors of enzymes. So what they do is they kind of help speed up reactions. And
okay.
in this case, oftentimes ones related to immune system health.
Okay. Okay. You're a wealth of knowledge, Rachel. See, you said you were like an amateur or whatever, and that is not true. Were there other things in your notes, Rachel, that you wanted to mention? Because I want to hear it all.
No, I mean, except maintain that microbiome, everyone. Bacteria are awesome. They get a really bad name because
Yeah.
they can definitely cause disease. Like 5% of them cause disease.
But the
And
other
the other
95 are good.
95%, well, I mean, of them, some are good.
Yeah.
Some are kind of just there, but like a lot of them, not just protect us and prevent disease, but they do a lot of things like releasing vitamins and other nutrients in our guts and, out competing, the bad things. And they make beer and they make wine and they make cheese and they make sauerkraut.
Right.
Yeah.
They do. They help make sourdough. My daughter Viv is super
Yeah.
into sourdough,
Yeah.
right? Like, okay, so interesting. So gut health is super, super important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially after a round of antibiotics, or, especially after anything that might decrease them, kind of getting
Okay.
them back up into balance is really important.
Okay. I appreciate it, Rachel. I'm going to stop the recording and then we can catch up for a second
Okay.
after. Thank you,
Yeah.
Rachel. I really appreciate it.